yourself ready, go cat go. Ooh yeah, be telling you something you surely know. Ooh yeah, born in a land where we wave them high, and we got blue angels climbing in the sky. I'm the luckiest guy in America. I'm the luckiest man born in America.
Well, I got me a guy named Johnny Be Good.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my God, it's six.
Oh, this
Six
is number
shows.
6. Wow. It's moving along.
Yeah, and you know that black eye you gave me the other night after the other show,
Well, that
it's healing
was-
up nice.
We were fighting about something. I don't know what it was.
We fight often about the show, and that's why it's so good, right? That's why you keep coming back. If we weren't beating each other up after the
Yeah,
show.
well,
Anyway.
so we got our music, we got our guest, we have our commentary, we have our man on the street. We've got it all today. And I'm curious, since I do the music, Dan does the guest interviews. Who is the guest today?
Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Jayme Stevenson. She is the first Selectwoman of Darien, has done that for over a decade. And I'll tell you a little bit more about her, but why don't we play a song for y'all, and then we'll come back and
See what's
learn a
what.
little bit more. We'll be right back.
Here we go.
When the night slips away, leaving not a trace, and time becomes a lonely place where we face what's left to face, a road dark and empty, a mind can only race.
We pay for all the things we've done, living on the run, and in between the night and day, the cigarettes have won, as every day becomes my night, just room for what's been done. Oh yeah,
I'm no fallen angel, reaching for the light. I'm just singing for me, singing for you. Now that spring is over, green fields flowing free, I wait for summer's blossoms to rescue me. Oh, I wait for summer's blossoms to rescue me. When we walked together down that darkened road, we saw each other, danced another, found a way, lived to discover. Oh yeah, I'm no fallen angel, reaching for the light. I'm just singing for me, singing for you. Now that spring is over, green fields flowing free, I wait for summer's blossoms to rescue me. Oh, I wait for summer's blossoms to rescue me.
Absolutely amazing. Each week you bring such wonderful music to everybody out there in America.
Yeah, it's real
thank you
American.
much.
It's American music,
Yeah.
so that's the good thing.
Well, Little House is an awesome band. So you can always find us at Unaffordable America, and if you want to find out more about Joe's band, we'll have some links up there for you.
Yep.
But now it's time to meet Jayme Stevenson. I was fortunate enough to be able to have run Jayme Stevenson's lieutenant governor's race in 2018. She had a primary race that she didn't come up out on top with, but we had 3 weeks of some running around with her. That was great. She has been in the mayor's spot or the first selectman spot in Darien now for over a decade. And Jayme's here to tell us today how local governments can't even think about cutting budgets because of mandates that are put on them by the state of Connecticut. They can never reduce the education budget and year to year.
So this mandate subject is one I'm deep into. And what is the constitutional authority to lay a mandate on a municipality without the state, who laid the mandate on them, paying for it? But, we'll see what Jayme has to say, and then we'll look at one of my videos later.
Excellent. Let's go to the interview right now. Here's Jayme Stevenson.
Hi, Jayme. How are you?
Hello, Dan. I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
And I want to thank you for coming on for this very important discussion on affordability here in Connecticut. Today, you bring in a very interesting perspective because we are always wondering why, when we open up the tax bill in our town the next year, it's never smaller. It just seems to go up, or the trash collection's a little bit more, or can you speak to kind of the incrementalism of this, and why can't we seem to lower the cost of government?
Sure. Thank you. It is an excellent question, and obviously one that comes to me every year, as you said, when people open their tax bills. I think people understand that there's certain things, structural things in government at all levels that impact the cost of providing government services, not the least of which are contractual obligations of all kinds. Primarily, government is a people business. So it's the contracts that we have with the people of government who provide our services, teachers, public works union folks, police unions, who all operate in this collective bargaining environment, entering into contracts for, 3, sometimes more years, with guaranteed wage and benefit increases each year of those contracts. So when you have the cost of personnel taking up 60% or more of your budget, as it does in my town, and you have guaranteed wage and benefit increases every year for 3 or more years, then renegotiated, of 3.5% at this point in time, far outpacing the rate of inflation. You can see that the math simply doesn't work. Well, what it forces us to do, certainly at the local level, which we pride ourselves in doing very well in my town, we have very conservative financial practices. We make sure that we fully fund our pension obligations every year, so we don't get in the $90 billion hole that the state of Connecticut finds itself in right now. And we have put away money into our savings account, our own rainy day fund, so that we can weather the storm of years like this past one, which has been most unusual with the cost of addressing the pandemic. But it also forces us to do more with less, which we've been doing every year, finding efficiencies, but really starting to ask the hard question about what is the proper role of government? What services should we be providing? What should we no longer provide in an endeavor to make sure that we really manage the tax burdens of our local residents and businesses?
The thing is that makes it different than a business relationship where you're playing under the rules of the government is that the labor manipulates how who is elected on behalf of them, and then making sure that they do what labor wants. Because if they don't, then they remove that person and they replace them with someone who will. Mm-hmm. So it seems to stifle the whole machine and just cost infinite amounts of money.
Well, as I said earlier, government really is a people business, and the people that deliver government services are very important. Yeah. And, I believe in making sure that we pay our government employees a fair wage. But with that, and with the structure that we live under, with union contracts that guarantee certain benefits and certain wage rates and guaranteed wage increases, that comes at a cost. And we all have to be aware of that.
So if you have a secretary in the private sector who makes, say, $20 per hour, and she has to pay into her health benefits, and that's the average out there. Not that it shouldn't be better, but then you see the same thing in state government, paid at, say, $45 an hour with all kinds of holidays and benefits and all these things that the other person working their butt off is paying for. They're not receiving any of that. They're not benefiting from that. And in fact, it's taking from their savings and their children's education and their retirements.
Well, we were just finishing up our budget process in the town of Darien. And each year I'm reminded that our local budget it's really not a budget. It's a definition of the priorities and values of a municipality and of a state, let's say. So, for us here in Darien, we highly value high quality public education. So the vast majority of our budget is dedicated to the Darien public school system. Mm-hmm. So you have to listen to the people that you serve and hear what they value, what their priorities are, and set your budgets accordingly. And so, my little piece of the budget that deals with everything else that's non-educational, road maintenance and waste management and parks and recreation, things like that. Those dollars keep shrinking in an endeavor to continue to invest in good quality public education. So, that's something that I feel very proud of in my town. I support that value system. And, it's interesting to see in Hartford where the values are for the state of Connecticut in terms of how they're spending our money.
Yeah. And why we can't change some of these inequities when there's so much money floating around.
So I think many of us are really willing to support efforts to bolster our cities, but there has to be accountability in the same way that there's accountability for me every day as a chief elected official. If things aren't going right, the buck stops with me. So, I expect the same for the tax dollars that we send.
Or
to
anyone working a job, right? You don't do your job, then
right.
you either got to get on the ball or you're gone. Anyways, well, I want to thank you for coming on and talking to everyone out here. And, I'm just trying to get the people and the government, their elected leaders, as we call them, because they're supposed to be representing us. And this is an important piece of this conversation is, why does the tax bill keep going up? Well, now you know. So now we can all band together, join the taxpayers union, and have a seat at the table, because once we have enough of us, then they'll listen to us, right? Because we will have political might to do what's right and lower the cost of living here and attract all our friends from Florida back so they can freeze in the snow with us.
Well, I have a great desire to be honest with my constituents, certainly here in Darien and across the state of Connecticut. And that's how we rebuild trust. I think people have lost trust in government. But we have to start with honesty and accountability. And I hope I role model that here in Darien. And I look forward to seeing more of that coming from our leaders in Hartford.
Do you have any aspirations to run for governor?
I will never foreclose any future opportunity, but not at the moment.
Oh, that sounds like a politician.
Oh, gosh.
Fair. All right. Thank you, Jayme. We will talk soon.
Thanks for having me on, Dan.
Well, I knew it. These people running these municipalities really have their hands tied. And alone, what can they do to unravel that bind they're in? So it needs to be, how many municipalities we have just in our state here?
169.
So somehow they all have to collectively say, stop laying these mandates on us, and you guys got to handle this stuff up at the state level, because if you want a mandate, you have to raise the money. And that means you got to go through the political process of dealing with income taxes and sales taxes. You can't do a mandate and then just throw it in our laps.
Yeah, well, Jayme is at the tip of the spear on that. She has the experience, and she speaks out about this type of stuff. We want to keep her involved, certainly. All right, well, it's that time again to get hoodwinked by Joe Petrina.
Welcome to Stealing Homes to Collect Taxes, one of my favorites. What you're about to hear is new and dangerous. A new illegal tax collecting practice is spreading across the land. Essentially, if you do not pay your local property tax, your town or city simply puts your house up for sale without even going to court. It's even got a name, a non-judicial take. It circumvents due process altogether. Great idea. To refresh your memory, government bodies can take private property solely for eminent domain purposes, for example, to build a highway, and then only if the owner is compensated with the full value of the asset. No other taking whatsoever is authorized under the U.S. Constitution. So what gives? Nothing gives. They invented tax sale larceny, figuring you would fold. The municipality doesn't actually take possession of your house. They just infer that they have possession when posting an ad in the newspaper under the caption, tax sale. Mind you, this is not a bank foreclosure where the house title reverts to the bank after a due process court hearing. Tax sales merely flip stolen goods, your house. Here's how it works. The one buying your house pays the municipal tax collector a quick sale amount of money in exchange for a freshly printed property title, although you never transferred the title of your house to the municipality. The municipality keeps what it wants, gives you the balance, and then walks away, leaving you and the buyer to fight it out as to who actually owns the property. You have a deed, the buyer has a deed. This twisted outcome is so horrific that homeowners usually capitulate to the municipality, paying any ransom money demanded to keep hold of the property. How do municipalities get away with this? They are bigger than you, much bigger, with deep pockets and well-paid lawyers on staff and on retainer, ready to crush residents. Tax sales are really a form of racketeering, the use of illicit institutional muscle to coerce another. The racketeering conviction could confer multi-decade prison terms upon the mayor, the tax collector, and other local officers. So they should be mindful of this. So far, for the reasons just said, no one has brought a civil nor a criminal case forward to eliminate all of this corruption. The taking behavior is so anti-American that the U.S. Supreme Court finally weighed in on the subject. Here's a key bit of information. In 2019, for the first time, Chief Justice Roberts invited private property cases brought to the U.S. Supreme Court. Check out the Rosemary Nick versus Township of Scott, Pennsylvania case. As Judge Roberts put it, we now conclude that the state litigation requirement imposes an unjustifiable burden on the property owner's claim that his or her land has been effectively taken for public benefit without the government paying just compensation. So, this means we can finally challenge home and vehicle taxation practices in federal courts. Want to learn further details on this matter? Please visit hoodwink.net. Thank you.
Woo! All right.
All right,
There
goes
we
by
go.
fast, see?
See, that's it. 6 shows. Now, I guess we only have, 46 more
46
shows?
to- if we're going to do
6
one
more
a week.
shows all on Unaffordable Connecticut.
So
I
that's
don't
a
know if I
lot.
can afford that.
But I hope you find this valuable because there's a lot of input coming from different areas. The interviews, there's not
That's
much
right.
input on the music side. That's just for fun. But the commentary, the interviews, the man on the street to find other voices, and we're just trying to flesh this thing out. But mainly, we don't want you to think that you're alone.
Because you're not.
You're not alone. Everyone knows that this is all pretty wacky. And we don't have all the answers here, but we first want to understand what it is we're up against, identify the fact that we really are in this together. And there's no one who's really benefiting from living in an unaffordable environment. There's no one.
I think what Joe's trying to say is that if something's really screwed up, you can find us right in the middle of it all. So anyways, thank you for joining us at Unaffordable America. We're going to be back next week. Be sure and join Unaffordable America on the web and visit us on social media. We're fighting for you. The outpouring of support, the membership drive, people are starting to take notice that this is a really serious group of people who want Connecticut to be a more affordable state that attracts business, family, and jobs, and is a wonderful place to live and raise a family.
It always has been.
It always has.
So leave your email address on the website so we can give you little notices, okay?
All right. Thanks for tuning in with Jayme. We're out of here.
Well, I got me a guy named Johnny Be Good.
Ooh, yeah.
He ain't perfect, but he sure be good.
Ooh, yeah. The luckiest ones in America.